Welcome to the No Rep podcast. I am your hostess with the mostess, Danny.
Oh no.
Don't say
And
that.
today we are going to be talking about why you're not getting results. So Jordan, do you want to take the floor? Why?
Do you mean Agent Jordan?
Agent Green, mate. Agent Green.
Why you're not getting results?
Why? One reason why.
One reason why.
We'll go round and we'll say one reason why.
What is your why? Ooh. Like, what's the reason why you're doing the thing that you want to do? A lot of people get tied up or they get confused and they think they want something because someone else has got it or someone else has done it. Like, oh, I want that, or they've done that, so I can do that. When they don't actually know why they're doing it. And then when things are tough or they're tired or sore, that lack of motivation that everybody seems to get is because they don't have a strong enough reason for doing it. So that's probably, I would say, is the biggest reason why people aren't getting the results they want, because they don't have a why, or the why's not strong enough.
There's really not
That's
clear.
solid.
They're really not clear in like where they need to be, what it is that they want. And like you said, it's just that they see somebody like, oh, hello, and then
Shove it in there, man. Get it in there.
Play it up, you. No, but they see somebody at the gym. They kind of, not like a sheep. They just kind of follow that. Oh, they've done that, I'll do that too. And when times get difficult, it's, I've lost my words there. When times get difficult, they've got nothing to fall back on in terms of like, they don't know why they're doing it. So it's easy to then go into bad habits. It's easy to go into like the kind of previous behaviours and stuff that they used to, because they don't know why the fuck they're doing it. They don't know why the fuck they're tracking their calories, or they're going at walks in the morning or whatever. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of feel like echoed there. I feel, is it just me? I think it's just me. So I think that what people do is the why can sometimes be quite superficial as well.
Yeah.
And then that's
Good
when
word.
things can fall apart. Because if they're on the journey, and if it is just a kind of superficial reason where the why's not strong enough, the why might just be, oh, I want to lose weight. Is that ever going to be a strong enough why?
I just want
for
to
anybody to
lose a little bit of
continue?
weight. I just want
It's
to
not
gain a
gonna
little
be
bit of
enough, is
muscle.
it?
I just want to look a
It's
little
gonna
bit
be
better. Aye,
It's just not going to be enough.
doesn't last.
Do you know what I mean? So I think your why, even if you have one, is it a strong enough one? Do you know what I mean? I'd say.
I think what follows on after that is like, so say if somebody has a cold cut reason, like, yeah, no, this is why I'm doing it, to prove to myself that I'm not a fat bastard or whatever it may be, like something that's kind of cemented down in their reason. The next thing I would probably say is why they're not getting the results is that potentially just don't know how, or they're doing things for the wrong reasons.
Yep.
So they could be, right, or they do it too quickly, right? So they try and do everything at once. So I'll speak on that first before we go on to they don't know why. So they think that they have to hammer the gym. They think they have to get all the steps in. They think they have to meal prep. They think they have to do absolutely everything because that's what they should be doing. And it's like, it's not what you should be doing right now. And then people get overwhelmed with it. They lose motivation, which we can get on to the topic of that. But that's another thing that I see quite a lot, is that when people I was having this discussion with one of my clients, and he was like, I'm going to meal prep and 10,000 steps every single day, and I'm like, what are you doing right now? I mean, are you cooking any of your meals, like any meals? No. I mean, so how are you going to cook 7 times 3 meals? Quick maths. What is that?
21.
21. So how are you going to cook 21 meals and go out walking every single night when you can't find the time to do just a little bit of that right now? Do you know what I mean? Like, jumping into that's a sure way to jump straight back out really quickly.
It's too much too soon.
It's just too much too soon. So I'd say that's probably another reason why.
You mentioned time there, and that is one of the recurring themes with like kind of people that I end up with. I've not got time to do this. I've not got time to do that. And people don't have a time problem. They've got a time management problem.
Most of the time.
People are shit at planning their time, at planning their weeks. They get overwhelmed with, because they give themselves too much to do, and they don't stick to like the appointments and stuff that they make with them, or the appointments that they should make with themselves.
Yes.
Yep.
Like they
You should stick to having like a dentist appointment.
Oh, 100%. There's what's that?
I avoid those.
what's
do what Jordan
a
does.
dentist? And I think it's I'm going to get this wrong. I think it's called like Parkinson's law or something like that.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it is,
think
isn't
that's
it?
it.
So
I
if you
think
give yourself like 6 hours to do a task, it will take
Take
6
6
hours.
Yeah.
Like, and people just need to get really kind of laser focused on, right, I've got an hour, I've got 11 to 12, I'm going to be walking, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing that, and stick firmly to that.
Aye. I think touching on kind of same lines of that is when people with a bad time management problem, but delegating things in their day, in their week, in the wrong order can completely mess things up. So, for example, if people have a job where the night time can still start running over a wee bit and end up having to do a bit more hours or whatever, their schedule kind of goes against them at night time, they have kids or whatever it is it going to be smarter for you to maybe get a large amount of your workout or steps in or something in the morning? Do you know what I mean? Instead of when your day starts, you know there's a high probability that you're not going to actually manage to get the workout in. So I think people as well picking times to do stuff like in the wrong times basically is a big issue.
People should do things, for the most part, they should serve themselves first.
Aye.
Same when you're on an aeroplane, you put your mask on first before helping anybody else. Like you need,
I like that one.
Yeah, got that. you need to serve yourself first, because if you're not happy or if you're not fulfilled in your own life,
100%.
that's going to echo and it's going to start to seep into other people's lives as well, and you're going to be miserable and why are you miserable? Because I didn't go to the gym, blah, blah, blah. Like that's how I kind of get, but there is a fine line to being just like taking the piss and being very, very selfish with your time, but then you have to do what makes you happy first, or do maybe not what makes you happy, that's maybe the wrong use of words, or maybe it's right, but
do what you need to do, innit?
do what you need to do and do what's best for you. Like even though you don't want to go out and get your steps in or go to the gym when it's cold and wet and windy outside, but you know it's what's best for you, you need to do those things, and then the rest of your life kind of starts to fall into place when those things are going well.
Like,
I find.
See, the thing is, you need to be kind of realistic with it as well. So, like, in an ideal situation, everyone would be able to get up 6 a.m, have a workout, do their steps, and then get on with their day.
Are you getting up at 6 a.m?
I'm never getting up at 6 a.m. ever in my life. I was actually up at 6 a.m. today, and, but for like, I'm making it up. Sandra, mother of four,
Shout out Sandra.
Shout out Sandra. Like, it might not be realistic for her. So then her workout or whatever will need to get pushed later on in the day. But see, as the day goes on, your priorities change, or someone's priorities change. So like in the morning, generally before work, before the day starts, it's kind of dead time, it's free time, so you can work on yourself, whatever. But as that day goes on for Sandra, she needs to think about lunches, picking up from schools, like what happens if that runs over, kids clubs. Like, so they need to, it's even more important to be on it with her planning and whatever. And I think so. Another wee thing I want to touch on is delegation. You mentioned delegation now just for a wee second. So let's take Sandra, who is completely fictional. She's got 4 kids, she's working, she's full time, whatever, right? Then she needs to cook all their meals and then all her meals. And
where's Sandra's man? Come on, man. help us
he needs to work, but basically, like what I'm saying is, see if you can.
He's at a gym.
He's at a gym. It's free time. See if you can outsource something. Outsource it, get it the fuck off of your plate, get it out of your bandwidth, and then that leverages your time a little bit better. So see if that's your meals, or even stuff that people don't think about, like get somebody to do your ironing, get somebody to do your washing, laundrettes. I know there's obviously a cost associated with that, but see if it's going to free
What's
up
that cost going to allow you to do?
Exactly, it frees up your time. Time's, in my opinion, is more valuable than money in a lot of cases. Sometimes, like, do you know what I mean? Obviously not everyone has that kind of outlook or whatever.
Some people might not say that, like, so Sandra might be like, the cheek of you telling me to go and do this when I've got 4 kids to pay for and feed for. Like, what would you say if she comes back to you and says, because Sandra's listening right now, and
Sandra
she's not happy,
Sandra is listening. I'm not saying that everyone should do that, but what I'm saying is,
what can you do
if time is an issue, then
do your best to
look at things that you can kind of free up and then maybe delegate to. It could be, instead of going to Asda yourself to get shopping, do it online.
Get it delivered. That's an hour or two saved.
That's an hour or two saved per week. So then that could be literally time to just chill out. That could be time to do whatever you want to do. So me time, go to the park, like whatever it is. So I use that as an example. But if you can delegate something, delegate it. Yeah, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And I think this past year I've started to do a little bit of that myself. Like, instead of rushing home every single day to come home and walk the dog when Katie was at work, I would get the dog walk. I'll get a dog walker in. The Bear loved the dog walker, and it was
I love Bear.
I love Bear. Everybody loves Bear. He's great. Shout out Bear. We're going to do that every time we mention.
Every time we mention
someone.
anybody, it's a thing.
Aye, it's a thing. And for me, that just relieved, like, that's what, half an hour, or 20 minutes, half an hour driving back home, 20 minutes, half an hour driving back to work or back to the gym. And that just freed up that time. And I was getting very, very, not stressed, but kind of worked up. I'm not able to get everything that I need done today done because I'm having to drive home and walk the long
And then you
do
feel
this.
like failure.
Exactly, and then it kind of affects everything else. So you are so right. And at the small cost of doing that, a tenner, like, it was totally worth it. You're probably paying a tenner on fuel to get there and back. Do you know what I mean? Never mind your time whilst you were kind of there. So for me, that worked wonders when I did it. Delegating some stuff for sure. For sure.
Yeah, thoughts.
I agree. I concur with everything you said.
I agree. I concur. I think another reason why we'll go on to the part I said kind of before there, why people aren't making the results they want is because they don't know how. So sometimes when people don't know how to, well, keep going, keep talking. Don't know whether I keep going or not. So when people don't know how to do the things or what to do or whether they're doing the right things or not, so they're maybe kind of half in, half out. Oh, I've heard CrossFit's good for weight loss. I've heard, hill walking's good for weight loss, and they're kind of in and out all these different things.
I'm trying this fasting thing.
Yeah, I'm trying. I've heard of this keto diet. They don't.
Billy at the gym said fasting.
That's it.
Carbs is bad.
I'm on Huel. I'm on this. I'm on that. Fucking Huel.
And people
Do
prescribe.
not shout out Huel.
No shout out. Fuck you, Shield.
Yeah, but I'm going to fucking do it. Come after us. That's, I think, another reason. But I don't think I think it's like kind of in that order. I think like people don't have a good enough why. I think that's a big thing. Then what we just spoke on, and then that there, like people maybe then don't know what they're doing or the right thing to
And I
do.
think as well, the amount of bullshit information that's out there. So people usually have large followings, and people are like, "That's true. I will follow that." The amount of people that I've spoke to that are doing this, they're like, "Oh, I'm doing this thing," and it was something to do with an incline walk on a treadmill for X amount of time at X speed at X incline,
Yeah, it's
to
on
get your
TikTok,
abs and lose your body fat.
Yeah.
The amount of people that I know who are my current clients who have said to me, "Oh, I was doing this thing," and told me, and two people told me the same incline, same speed for the same amount of time, and I'm like, that's that fucking TikTok thing.
That fucking TikTok.
Do you right? And I love TikTok, but there's some bullshit on
I've
it. Do you know
seen
what I
your
mean?
TikTok
Like,
feeds. I know what it looks like.
aye. Bit of fitness, then a wee bit of something else. It's actually, no, mine's is all like conspiracy shit. And
Aye, so is mine
fucking
actually. Mine's just littered with like,
conspiracy fitness. And
I don't have TikTok.
You need to get.
you're an old man.
Great.
I'm an old man.
Aye.
Right,
You're
but
telling me
TikTok people believe in that you need to
Aye.
literally, if you see it on TikTok, people are like, oh my god,
Aye.
like it's gospel.
Aye.
And don't get me wrong, there is tons, I assume. Of,
There is tons of good.
That is really
In
good.
fact, because I thought it was. So we're going to do a segment called not today, a future episode, but like TikTok failures. What we calling it again? TikTok reactions to TikToks.
No.
And when I went on there and I searched like fitness just on TikTok to see what kind of shit would pop up, there was actually quite a lot of good stuff. I was like, oh, this is going to be harder than I
Aye.
first anticipated. But there is some of those things that do seep through the cracks, and people think, oh, this is it. This is the golden ticket. This is what's going to get me X result.
And do you think that's because people are always looking for that? As if there's this as if there is actually a special thing, not realising there is a lot of special things that need to be done. Do you know what I mean? I think people think this one wee thing's going to be like
100%. Like, of course they are. We're all in a way looking for that. But
Aye.
you want that right here, right now. Do you know what I mean? The results that you kind of always wanted. Someone just went, yeah, just walk on a treadmill for 45 minutes at 8 pace and 8% incline, and you've got it.
Aye.
Oh,
And I think that's
right,
one
okay.
thing you realise when being fitness for so long and doing it for so long, plus being in the industry for so long as well, you start to realise that there's actually nothing. There's no fancy thing that you can just add in. It is
It's
combination of
just the boring stuff.
aye.
Do the
It
boring
is.
stuff
Do the
well.
boring work.
Aye.
Do the boring work.
But I feel like that doesn't. That takes
not sexy.
that takes years, man, because you are googling shit like, oh, so 10 to 12 reps is better than 8 to 10, or oh, I should be doing sets of 6 and all that. Like you start getting,
can't do
start
seven
getting
reps.
so
believe I
caught
was
up.
doing sets of
Aye.
5 last month.
You start getting so caught up and like.
If
'cause
it
one-
is-
Do you know no
Aye.
gains happen if you do like sets of 7, right? Or 9.
No, it has to be 8 or 10 or
Because
10
if you
or
do,
12.
you do
Because
like a set of 8
it's
to
an
10.
odd number.
Aye,
It's
you
an
do
odd
8
number.
to, you do 8 to 10. It's not 8 to 10, it's 8 or 10. If you
Aye.
do 9, you're fucked.
No, it's an odd number.
You do,
So
you do like 5, 7, just
Yeah.
lots of things that you shouldn't be doing. It's not true, guys. It's
Yeah,
not true.
this is
It's-
lie.
again, it's just it's a lot of the bullshit that you do see online, and much like there's fitness trends and much like there's things that come through the woodwork, like we're talking running throughout lockdown in the last episode, like how things like that become kind of more popular. Same thing with these trends, like that trends, the walking on the incline. You know, people used to do that way back in the day. Then now it's now kind of coming back to light. There's going to be another wee kind of stupid trend, like booty bands and all these wee things that kind of come up.
Stairmaster kickbacks.
There's going to be something that will just seep through the woodwork, and it's kind of like, no, this is what you should be doing, and that's the only thing. Like here's another one. Like I've seen on TikTok a lot of people, like they don't want to incline barbell bench press anymore because you see that guy, I think he was training with Larry Wheels. It's been cancelled. Incline barbell bench press has been cancelled because that guy tore his pec. I think it was the guy who was training with Larry Wheels.
One guy, one time.
Yeah, it was a horrendous injury. But granted, there was probably like 500-600 pounds in the bar. I don't know the exact weight. A lot of weight, more than any of us could lift together combined. And he's trying to incline bench it, and he tears his pec. Right, the shit happens. But then now nobody wants to do it or touch it or push it, and it's just like because they see one thing, it's influenced so much.
It's a good exercise.
It's a good exercise.
Do you know what I mean? But then I think every exercise is a good exercise if you do it right.
Done correctly.
What about Stairmaster kickbacks?
If you want to get a really big booty, you should definitely not do that.
What about holding on to the treadmill while you walk?
Yes. Oh,
Should all do that?
do
Do you know people do that incline walking and they hold on, right? And obviously you lean back a bit because you're holding on. You are now walking flat. You're no longer walking fucking incline. I'm sorry to absolutely ruin that for you.
That's a good point.
You're no longer walking incline. You're now walking flat
but up.
But holding on. So you're taking away the incline. Just walk flat if you want to walk flat, please.
That's what everybody's problem is. That's why
if you
they're
want
not-
abs, you need to stop holding on to it.
That's what it is. It's not we're mocking this guy that's brought this trend back to life, but it's actually because they're got you. Finer details in it.
Yeah.
Something that stops people from seeing the results that they want or gains or whatever is not knowing. Obviously, you said not knowing what to do, not knowing how hard to work.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Because, like, for example, if you're going to win, you're going to do bench press, incline bench press, right? 4 sets at 8. I could do 4 sets at 8 at 40 kilos, and it's still you've ticked that box. You've done your 4 sets at 8. I could also do it at 150 kilos. No, but you get the picture. One's much more intense than the other. Both the same. I've done the same amount of reps and whatever, but there's an intensity difference there.
Yeah.
Intensity matters for sure.
Oh, massive.
But when you hear a word intensity, like everybody thinks like you're fucking jumping about, running about, like you're sweating, screaming, heavy music, whatever that kind of thing is. Like when you hear the word intensity, it's all relative. So an intense workout for my gran might be a walk on the treadmill at an incline. In fact, my gran's
holding on.
But holding on. I don't know if she'll listen. Oh. I'll need to get her hooked up so she can listen.
Gainline granny.
But so an intense workout for someone that is older and is struggling to walk because they've got sore knees might be an incline walk, whereas an intense workout for Danny might be a 40-minute EMOM with like 15 calorie row, 15 calorie bike, 15 calorie ski. That's fucking intense.
So do you think using the PRE scale, going back to
RPE scale?
Aye.
Jack Nicholson all over again.
Do you see my head on RPE? That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
PRE scale?
Rate of perceived exertion.
Rate of perceived exertion.
Yeah, but then again, you can always lie to yourself in a way, can't you?
Totally. But
I use it like
it has its place.
Do you know what I mean?
How many times have you said to a client, right, what's that out of 10? Oh, that was an 8. Right, I want you to do as many reps as you can, and then they fire out like another 12 reps.
That's true.
Was it really an 8?
So is it too hard to actually?
Because it's subjective.
It's subjective. So I have a little bit of a scale, and I work this with some of my clients who are like either well trained or they're trainers themselves, where I have percentages that I want them to lift on that day, but then I'll also put like I'm looking for around about like an RPE 8 or 9 on this, or 7 or 8 on this particular movement, so that if you go in and you're feeling like a bag of dicks and everything's like feels like you got a Nissan Micra on your back and you're like that. I stole that from someone. I'm not that funny. But everything feels really, really heavy that day, then I maybe then revert to that kind of rate of perceived exertion.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't use it as gospel, because like you said, Evan, like you could come in and it's totally subjective, totally. But RP vibes.
PRE.
Another reason why I think people don't get the gains and the results that they want is because they just don't do it long enough.
I was going to say that.
Time frame.
Yeah, they don't do it long enough. So they maybe work hard, like you said, but they work hard for a week and they go, fucking hell, I worked well hard last week. But take it easy now. I deserve a break. I deserve that. I deserve a pizza. I deserve an Nando's. I deserve whatever, like a treat. Like I deserve something because of my hard work. Actually, I can't remember. I've seen someone posted this and it was like, it was quite funny. But people could take it the wrong way potentially. But it was like treats are for dogs, not for humans. Like you don't need to, like you don't need a treat, do you? Like your dog needs a wee treat to learn. Your dog needs a treat to learn a good behavior. Like you teach your dog to sit, you give it a treat. But like we don't need treats. Like what people need to do is like kind of work hard, again, kind of somewhat subjective, but for a substantial period of time, because no one's going to have their foot to the pedal for 12 weeks solid. Like there's going to be like kind of ups and downs and kind of lapses and those types of moments, but that's okay. You just need to do it long enough.
Yeah. I think as well, people thinking a journey is going to be straightforward. Not expecting any hurdles at all.
Have we touched on that a couple of episodes ago, did we not?
Maybe. And what happens is people think because it was going to go perfect all the time and they have 1 week with Disney, they flake and they just end up, that's it, they flake and it's like, oh,
I'm a failure.
I can get up, man. Like,
I can't do this.
So I would say when you get into a journey, don't expect it to be 100% every week. Don't expect it to be perfect every week. Don't expect there not to be hurdles. If you expect them, then you can't really be surprised by them. Do you know what I mean?
Like you expect the failure. I say when folk come on board, I say to them like, you're going to fuck up, you're going to not try, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have bad weeks, and you kind of want that. See as well, like so, I had a couple of times before people like, oh, I had a bad week, so I didn't want to do my check-in or I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, see, it's the exact fucking reason why you should do it.
That's why you need to do a check-in. But
it's
also, see if check-ins are all perfect. I can't do my job.
Yeah,
my whole not my whole job, but a lot of my job is to put out fires, to give you wee nuggets of info and stuff, and to realign you and make sure you're going in the right direction. So if your week's perfect, how am I meant to do that?
Do you think
if your week's going perfect, I don't want to check in actually.
No.
If everything's going great, I'm like that. All right, okay, that's keep doing your thing. But yeah, you're right. Like
rinse and repeat.
But
so
do you
many
think
people
this
do
comes
that.
down to like, obviously social media, we know for a fact you see all the good, don't you? Do you think this is because maybe people don't put they're having shit? I know I have shit days and shit weeks a lot. Do you know what I mean? And I don't really go online and be like, I'm having a shit day, man.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
So is it just because everybody paints this fucking elaborate, amazing story of their life all the time that people think, oh, I must be failing, man. I shouldn't be doing this because I know my coach doesn't do it, or I know this person I follow doesn't do it, my pal doesn't do it.
That's what I try and be quite relatively transparent with that, and even I think you do quite a good job at that as well. Of like, if you go out for like to honey trap to get some pastries, you're talking about it. You have a few beers, you're talking about it. Like you posted up a few Guinnesses at the weekend. Like we're all people.
Too many Guinnesses at
one too many. Daddy's a bit rough today.
Still rough right now.
That's the age more than
Daddy's a bit rough. Then it's Monday and he was out on
Saturday.
And
I was in my bed by 12.
Do you know why? It's because you're so old.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's like how old? Like 400.
400. Like I think at man size are just kind of
Gandalf.
They're a bit rusted now. So like when water touches it, it's like I don't know.
Water, aka Guinness touches it, you're a bit like.
Man.
But what were we talking about now?
I think we're kind of going towards that folk are a wee bit, maybe even all or nothing with like.
Aye, I'm either 100% or I'm on the couch doing nothing.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, so they.
I hate that though.
They think, oh, I can't have any Guinness or sweet pastries from me.
Sweet pastries.
Sweet.
I had an almond croissant this morning.
Dynamite, like, but so they're restricting themselves and depriving themselves of these things. So when they do have something, they feel like a failure and they revert back into, oh, I can't do this now because I've had that kebab. The thing is, like, nothing's.
I also had a kebab.
Did you?
I had a kebab pie at the football.
You were called them brown couches?
No, it was like a chicken. It was like a chicken tikka kebab.
Right, okay.
It was absolutely
a good kebab.
Oh, it was
a good kebab, a healthy kebab.
I say that. I say I'm going to get a healthy kebab, and
there's a big difference between that and a brown leather couch.
They think that because they've had something like that, then they fucked it, and then that's it. And see, I done the maths. I'll fuck this up a wee bit. But see, obviously, there's chat in the fitness industry of you only need to be on the ball 80% of the time, right? So that's
the whole 80-20 thing,
80-20,
right?
which is fine, which I totally agree with. So if you were on the ball for 80% of the year, it's something like 270 days, right? So you have 70 days where you can be all right, you can be, or maybe not at the races or whatever. That's quite a lot.
292 days.
292 days.
Aye, 292 days.
So it's 365 days in a year.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe potentially, who knows? And,
Something
but
like
you
that.
get quite a lot of days where
73.
you've got that bandwidth there, so
Right.
don't worry about being perfect all the time. Perfection's a fallacy. Is that the right word? Is that a word?
Fallacy
Fallacy's a word.
but
Yeah.
Don't ask
whether
me
it's the
about
right
words
word-
though.
I know, but do you know what I mean? So it's like nobody's perfect ever.
No.
Like you can't be that 100%.
And if you are, you're probably
You're
a
a-
boring bastard.
Or a unicorn.
Or a
again.
unicorn.
Or a
Nah,
unicorn.
you captured
You
it for
captured. Yeah. No, it's very, very, very true. And that all comes down to habits. And it comes down to, I think you spoke on this before. It's like, when I'm feeling this, I do this.
Yeah,
right?
this
And
or that list.
this or that list. But people do that without knowing they do that. So when people feel like shit, they eat chocolate. And when people feel like they're going off track at the gym, they throw all the toys at the pram and they disregard everything about their training and what they've been taught, and they go to whatever. And we kind of do that as well sometimes. We will all do that. Like, we'll get to Saturday and it's like, we're not thinking about protein when we're ordering pints of Blue Moon. Like, that's not a thought in our head.
Blue Moon baby.
But the rest of our habits and behaviors are more in alignment to help us in a way, whereas a lot of people just don't have those habits and things like that in place. And I think that will take us maybe back to the kind of the topic of the podcast of like why you're not getting results is because you just don't have the right habits. You don't have the right systems in place. Like Evan's totally clued up on systems. I didn't know systems really were a thing in the whole PT space or fitness until you kind of brought it into my life and
Mr. System.
Mr. Systems. And but people don't have that. People don't know the this or that list. They're not educated enough on like their habits and how they're affecting them.
And see, this is the thing. I think as well, people look at fitness as a completely different thing for a life. So why is it always fitness that has to stop? Why could you still go to the pub? Why could you still do this? Why could you still do that? So any habit that was actually going to take them closer to the goal, why do you think it's them that just stop? Do you know what I mean by that? Like, so
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
it's like it seems to be the habits that are good that take.
Go out the window. I think a lot of people have. I think there's.
Is that because
It comes back to, sorry for interrupting Evan, but it comes back to we spoke about it before, instant gratification. Like, that's why they go to the pub, because they're instantly gratified because they have that, or they're satisfied
That
because they
reward.
have that pint, they have that thing.
There's money. I
Yeah.
get a pint.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's instant, it's there and now. Whereas when you go into the gym once and you come back out, nothing changes. But then you need to do that over.
just playing
and
a long
over
game
and over
again?
and over
Time
again.
frame goes back to time frame
Yeah,
again.
sorry.
Playing a long game again.
No, I think I was just going to say. I think there's or like someone's readiness or ability to change. Readiness to change is on a kind of spectrum, and people find themselves at different points of the spectrum. So they'll feel like, I want to change, but I'm not really ready to change my habits. And then that progresses over time with most people, not with most people, but with people and whatever. And then they eventually get to a point where I'm ready to change, and I'm going to put the work in, and I'm going to do this kind of regardless.
So do you think it's
of
a
how
time
I feel.
thing? Do you think like the longer they've been ready in a way, the longer it's been
Sometimes,
hurting them, the longer it's been a frustration.
The
Do you know
more
what I mean?
intense
The
it
more
is.
intense it becomes,
yeah,
and then
yeah. But then some people,
because some people get a thought. You probably like I feel like quite an impulsive thought and make a decision.
Like this
and
podcast.
typically-
yeah, do you want to do a podcast? Yep.
Do you want to do it next Tuesday?
Sounds-
Evan's like, but we've booked it.
I
Let's go.
do podcast.
I've got a walk in the park next Tuesday. Like, I don't know.
I'm washing my cat that day. My new cat. Shout out Mally.
Bali.
Yeah, that's what we're calling her.
Oh.
And but I think the thought of changing, right? So
I'm just laughing
you're
at him. Laughing at him.
I got a thought in my head.
the thought of changing can be uncomfortable. It's easier to stay the same. It's easier to stay in that comfort blanket. It's easier to still be married to your current habits and level of thinking and stuff. That's easy. People don't like to do the hard stuff. Why would you want to be under pressure and be uncomfortable? And because that's literally what it all is. It's all getting uncomfortable. It's like training is going to be uncomfortable. Training is going to be difficult and make you sweat and make you out of breath. And
Pushing comfort zones, aren't it?
Aye.
but at the tail end of that, you get rewarded with feeling good and feeling healthy and changing your body and carving out the life and stuff that you want. So
I think anything worth having, like, kind of comes down the line and it comes in the future from the kind of work you do just now. Like, so where everybody's at just now as a result of all the decisions that they made 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if somebody's really, really unhappy with their weight, unhappy with how they look, unhappy with their fitness, it's because of all the decisions that they made throughout the past 6 months, 3 months,
wasn't it 2 days
last
ago?
month.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't like today I was a fat bastard today and then everything goes. It's an accumulation of all those decisions. The same way that if someone was to invest all their money in the stock market from the day they were 16 and then when they're 26 and they've got a fat stack sitting in the bank, that didn't just happen overnight. That's an accumulation of small wee bits of just deposits just going in. You just deposit in,
see, you get somebody in that mindset. This is what I asked. Like, okay, see in 5 years' time, if your current self in 5 years' time, what would you say to them if you didn't take action today and you didn't do the stuff? How do you think, what would that person say to you? They'd be screaming at you, just do the stuff, man.
Can I jump? See, the thing is, the time's going to pass anyway.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
While you're doing it,
So that 6 months, the time's going to pass anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So you have a choice to, you can faff about or you can start making positive changes and kind of essentially kind of casting a vote for who you want your future self to be.
Because people only whenever I've had somebody in and go like that, and especially someone that's kind of been putting off, and eventually they come on board, and 12 weeks whizzes by like that, and they go, "Oh fuck, I wish I did this sooner.
Yeah.
I did this sooner." And it's same when people when they learn to drive, if they put it off a wee bit, "Oh, I wish I did this sooner." And to go back into like the whole depositing into things, it's this that comes into fitness, it comes into everything else. Like you put those you just keep doing it consistently, and then that just like it accumulates. It just accumulates, and I think people wildly miss that out. And I think we need to maybe speak more on the fact that the whole instant gratification thing, like when people just order a pizza, they instead of cooking the meal, they go out for pints instead of just staying in that night and getting to bed early. Like choosing not to get a good night's sleep adds up. That's a deposit into the wrong bank account. Do you know what I mean? That's what those wee things are over time.
And it's almost like the more instant the gratification after it, the feelings are always worse, innit? Like they're always like, oh, why did I do that, man?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that.
Aye.
Like it's almost like it's
you
the complete flip side of how they feel after it. Like you go out for a few drinks and you maybe have one too many. The next morning you're like so happy I ripped the arse out it last night.
So
like you're
happy,
just
right?
like,
You'd have to be a right mentalist about that.
You'd have to be nuts.
That was that was the best decision I ever made last night, was going out and ordering more drinks.
No, but playing the long game, taking time, giving yourself the time, which is what it all comes down to.
Do you know what I think's not helped the whole situation is just the way, I suppose, plans and stuff have been sold online for the past however many years. 4 week shred, 6 week booty builder madness or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So
Booty builder madness. I like that. That's punchy.
Booty builder madness, gain line booty builder madness,
gain line booty builder madness.
But like, so people are then associating, is that the word I want to use? Like, oh, I can get this result in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, this whatever. When in actual fact, the amount of time to get him the desired result or whatever is 3, 4, 5, 6 times the amount of time they actually need to put in.
This is when the market side of things need to be honest. Like this is realistically the amount of weight you could potentially lose. This is and
that is if you adhere to everything I say.
You know what I mean? And
if you don't adhere to everything I say, then it's like then it's even longer.
It's not sexy though.
Yeah.
Like welcome to the 12-month booty builder madness plan.
But that, it comes down to coaches and it comes down to us to be completely like this is realistically what you can expect in this time frame. And I think us three are good at that. You know what I mean? We're no bullshit. We're right, and I think most coaches are getting better at it.
Yeah,
most.
Yeah, no. Another reason why I think some people don't get the results that they want is, well, I think we covered the why behind it, but it's just lost. It's lost my head. I had a great reason. I swear it was really, really good. No, but I think going back to what we were talking about earlier, with having kind of no direction and no coach as well, could be another really kind of powerful reason, because we all have slip-ups and we all have things that kind of like that veers us off track, being trainers as well, but actually having someone in your corner, not just like getting good education, because you can get, let's be honest, you don't need a PT. No one needs a PT the same way you don't need a business coach. You don't need any of these things, but having a coach can get you there.
100%. Information is not the issue. It's implementation.
Yeah, it's
you know what I
useless,
mean?
isn't it?
You can Google everything you want to know.
Everyone can climb Everest, but without a Sherpa, you're probably going to die.
That is absolutely.
Also, not everyone can climb Everest, but I get the analogy 100%.
Oh, aye, but
Yeah,
you
you
could-
need the Sherpa to help you get up there. Aye.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's not a necessity, but if you find that you're spinning your wheels in the mud trying to get the result you want and you're not getting there, and then there's Danny from Reshape 8 is ready. He's like, listen, you're my guy. I can get you there.
One of my programs called Reshape.
Sorry,
Please get it
Danny
right.
from Reshape. Apologies. Shout out Reshape. shout out the team at Reshape. Like someone's there waiting, and it's what they do. It's their job. It's the same way we can all cut our hair. Like we can go up the road and start cutting our hair.
That's what I say all the time, man.
Like, is it going to be the best thing for you?
You're going to go barber.
Yeah, but just go to barber.
I
man,
can fix
he'll
my
do it for
motor,
you.
but I'd be there. No, I couldn't fix my motor. Actually.
No,
I definitely couldn't fix my motor.
No, definitely.
You
couldn't
back
fix
the balayage.
Audi can't even fix your motor.
Audi can't even fix my motor. Fucking Audi, get your
Aye.
finger out your arse and fix my fucking car.
Not-
Talk about that another episode. I'll get too heated if I bring that up, man.
Not shout out Audi.
Yeah, I
A
fuck Audi,
reverse
man.
shout out.
Reverse shout out. No, having someone like that's maybe another reason.
Accountability's
Accountability.
You believe your own bullshit.
Yep.
I
This is it,
believe
aye.
my own bullshit. Like I'll let myself off because people pick the path of least resistance. Right?
Yes. Yes.
You're sitting in the couch, there's no resistance. Going out when it's rainy and hailstoning and your dog's shouting at you, there's resistance there, there's friction, you're like, ugh.
I see the thing as well, on the subject of
Yeah.
going outside, you'll, and like, if it's raining and it's quite hard to do it, do you know we're actually waterproof?
We are.
See if it rains and there's a hailstone and that, we're actually waterproof. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I know skin's
but-
waterproof.
So you won't
But
actually...
you don't have to like wring your like body out. do you
No,
know
but I
what
mean, the way people act, it's raining, man.
I know, I'm going to melt.
No,
Looking
no.
at Taylor steps, it's raining. It's just water. You're waterproof. You're fine.
No, it's mad, right? So obviously live in Scotland.
Scotland.
I don't actually own a waterproof jacket.
You get done?
No, I don't have. I've got that
It
jacket
doesn't
there,
rain in Shawlands, but
but that's not waterproof. It's got the duck feathers in it or whatever, so you're not technically meant to wear it in the rain.
Yeah.
I don't have a waterproof jacket, so when I see it's raining outside, I'm like that to the dog, looking at him going, listen bro, we're gonna have to wait till this calms down a wee bit. But
you can get walked tomorrow.
get a pair of waterproofs on, get outside. You can do those things. But I've had cases before where people just look at us or look at trainers and they think, right, you just give me a gym plan, like, and I'll follow it. And it's like, nah, it's like, if you needed a gym plan or wanted a gym plan, just Google it.
Aye.
Go on. There
get
is
one.
millions of resources out there that are free. There's macro calculators out there for free, and there's training plans out here for free. Going to
Yeah.
put us all at fucking business in a minute. All of that is out there, right? So if you could stick to it, you would, because you wouldn't have to pay for it, and you could just go like that, right? There's a training plan. There's macros that's telling me to work from. Let me go do it for 12 weeks, but you don't, right? So what you're actually paying for is someone to, I mean, holding accountable is not, I don't think it's strong enough or powerful enough a statement to like show the impact that it can have on somebody.
Totally.
Like it's
Until
like
you've actually experienced it.
totally, and that is really really it. And you know, it's not about just having the training plan. It's not about just having like here's your macros or here's your diet plan. Like that's not it. It's being coaxed through, right? When things are going well, this is what you should do. When things aren't going well, this is what you should do, instead of reverting back to those old bad habits.
Yeah.
And Atomic Habits, that book kind of gained a lot of popularity because I think it gained a lot of popularity because of like its simplicity. Like at its core, it's super, super simple, but it is far from easy. And having someone there to help, not only just keep you accountable and tell you, get your shit together when you need to get your shit together, it's actually, helping you along the way with doing that and doing it correctly.
Yeah. Definitely.
We get more.
Solid.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. Thoughts on that?
Agent Green. Agent Green.
Good chat, boys.
Yeah. Are you going to close us off? Close us off official. You're the host.
Give me a second. So, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the No Rep Podcast with your host, West with the mostest, Daddy. Cheers for watching another one. Just say bye, boys.
Yeah. Back next week.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.
Gain line strength.